So my circumstances were probably different to yours. Not a lot of people have to face and deal with the kinds of things we were going through. And so I, I wouldn't recommend or advise doing the things that I did and going about it the way that I did. So, having heard my story, I hope you'll find your own way to begin to work your way to build those bridges to your own repressed content. So, everyone's experience of it is not the same. There's a whole range. There's a spectrum from like mild shyness and nervousness to like extreme, crippling fear and paranoia and inhibitions and like really blunted and stunted affect and communication skills and social skills. And so you may be somewhere in that range, in that spectrum, and probably also have some or the other kind of traumatic or dissociative features. So like often this pattern of rejecting and ridiculing and humiliating is also accompanied with physical attacks or abuse, or um, it could even be sexual abuse. It could even be, I mean, it's already emotional, psychological abuse. But what I'm saying is that there's bound to be trauma at some point and unprocessed trauma, So a lot of us also have these traumatic and dissociative features mixed in there for good measure, So, yeah, what I'm saying is that it's going to be different for each of you, but it's also going to be similar. And um, if you look now at the present, then there are many situations in your life, personal relationship, work situations, places where this submissive, avoidant pattern is limiting you and holding you back. But then there's also the family dynamic. And yes, in the present, it may have changed, may have evolved to some extent. And so now maybe things are calmer, or at least people don't directly attack you or accuse you or blame you or humiliate you. But maybe they do in subtle ways, or maybe they do in major ways. All depends on your particular family system. But this, if you want to shift out of this thing, like you may be so used to not reacting to anybody, and but your mind kind of like absolves your family, so uh, nobody ever wants to blame their parents. As kids, we, no matter what our parents do, they are the authority, and so we have to follow them and respect them and forgive them and everything. And so, our, that whole bundle and upsetness kind of like is exaggerated in present circumstances with other people and other situations. So you got to withdraw it from there, and you got to start to look at that family dynamic, because that's really the core and the essence of it. It's where it's all bound up and tangled inside of you. But people are different, and some people want to just forgive that and move on, and that's fine. But some people like me don't want to. We want to challenge, and we want justice, and we want freedom from these chains. And like for me, if the relationship had mended, if they treated me nicely, then there's no need for me to go back and address those things. But now, as a grown man, in my 40s, and they're still trying to treat me like this and humiliate me and dump their frustrations, and that's not acceptable. It's not good for me. It's not good for my health and my well-being. It's not good for my relationship with my wife and my daughter. It's not good for them either. So my standing up for myself is also, and putting them in their place is good for them. And yeah, so I mean, I'll encourage you to begin to explore the possibility of standing up for yourself wherever and whenever the opportunity arises. And sometimes you need to prepare yourself a little bit. And so There's all these things you've been ruminating all your life about what you wish you could have said all those many times and never said. And so when you do allow this pressurized volcano to erupt, you don't want it to happen in public, and you don't want innocent bystanders to be affected by it. And so just the person who deserves it, who needs to see it, that person needs to see it. So you may want to do it not do it. You're not aiming to have an eruption or screaming, shouting, fighting match, but talking to them and confronting them about their present behavior or even their past behavior, whatever you feel you need to do with this person, whether it's a sibling, an elder brother or sister, or could even be a younger brother or sister, or a parent, father or mother, or whoever it is. And yeah, you have to still hold the love that you have for this person, and remember the good things and the good times, because there are definitely good times and definitely a lot of good things that your parents have done for you. I mean, I can't say that about all of you, because some people, there are genuinely neglectful and abusive parents, but my parents, I would never call them neglectful and abusive, even though they were emotionally and psychologically damaging. They were good and nice and kind people, and sometimes funny and friendly, and my friends loved them, and I love them, and I care about them a lot, and I don't want to hurt and upset them, but I love myself also, and I want them to treat me properly. And yeah, so that's what that whole thing was about. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can challenge and confront in a way that's not so explosive and volatile, but it has to have genuine emotion in it. And so, I'm just encouraging you to do what you can to get in touch with your repressed emotions, to feel, regulate, evaluate, and express them.